Good morning, friends.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, very good morning. I think most of us are joining, almost joined, and maybe few. So I'll give a couple of minutes, 8:05, we will start.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. I think most of us are here. Good morning again, everyone. Thanks for joining on time or just about time. So anything that you would like to share before we get into chapter 5? Anything that caught your attention?
Sir,
Yeah, Pranay.
sir, there was a twin blast outside the Kabul airport, which
Was
killed
it
20 people.
inside or outside?
Outside, sir.
Okay. Okay. I think the numbers, death toll numbers are still increasing, so numbers are maybe initial reports what you said. I think some of these incidents are internationally ignited, so that maybe the new government and old government and all that. These are some easy methods for getting attention. Probably. But unfortunate. Okay. Thanks, Parna. Who's next?
Sir,
Please go ahead. Yeah, Wuha, please go ahead.
sir, actually, AP government has given a helpline number wherein parents can lodge complaints about the school fees. Like if the schools, private schools are charging higher fees, they can complain to that number.
Oh, okay. I think all governments have those numbers even now. Is it a new thing or?
Yes, sir, it came yesterday.
Why is that? Is there any regulation on the school fees there?
Yes, sir. Like usually the schools increase something around 10% like that every year, but now because of the COVID situation, government wants the fees to be low, but then still the private schools are increasing the fees.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's a good gesture towards the families and parents and students as well. Let's see whether it will fructify, gives the fruits or not. Okay. Thanks, Wuha. Anyone else? Anything else? Do you think we will lose the third test match against England? No, not interested. All right. Okay. Sorry. Then let's get on to our mission. Which is chapter 5. And we started discussing about some of the risks. And not that we don't know these risks. Yesterday we have started that. So for core banking also, since core banking also is another IT application or information system, just like the other applications and other application risks, other boundary control risks or boundary risks, sorry, or other physical risks, other physical access or physical control risks or logical control risks. Same thing applies here also. So chapter 3 is the guideline for all of these risks at a broader level. Here it is just a reiteration, maybe one or two customizations related to the banking. I think this is what we, because operational risk is day-to-day operations, which is nothing but for a bank, transactions. Then information security is generic. That's the reason why I did not go through each and every line here, because these are all explained in a generic way earlier. Now also it is almost generic. There is nothing specific there. Legal risk, it is there with any information system to deal with clients. For example, if you replace CBS with online retail companies, for example. The same still holds good. Like Amazon also, clients, there are legal risks for that. Sale of products or business practices. Instead of a bank, there it comes an e-commerce company. So there is no fundamental change. So compliance risk, always legal penalties would be there if you don't follow. Whatever the information system is, these risks are similar. And people risk anywhere it is there. Lack of trained key personnel and tampering of records, whatnot. But in this case, there may be a nexus between front and back end offices. Meaning, let us say there is a database administrator. Yeah. Let us say there is a back-end database administrator and front-end teller, meaning the clerk. If they have a nexus, meaning unwanted or illegal kind of a connection, so that you have deposited 50,000, but the teller updates only 5,000. 10 is missed. Okay, there is a proof of the deposit slip, but for some reasons it is lost. For some reasons. So the update happens in the database, and the database records and tallying of the overall accounts and all that. And the database controls, the person who manages the database manages that. If there is a connection, no one can find the issue unless a customer complains. Again, audit happens. The scam goes on. Happens. So that's why people risk is always there. Similarly, for a bank, credit risk is there. It is not information system risk, general risk. Basically, the banks may go bankrupt, hence the name bankruptcy. Market risk, risk of losses in the trading book due to changes in the equity prices, the way they try to invest their money and they will lose money there in the share market or the capital markets, or interest rates and trades. I mean, so many possibilities of market risk there. Nothing related to CDS, but generally it is mentioned here. Any banking system has this risk, whether it is manual or automatic. Strategic risk as an organization, every organization has a strategic risk because there is a strategy. If there is a strategy, naturally risk is also imminent. Now specific to information technology, data, authorization process, authentication, and several software interfaces across diverse networks, various different banks, various different ATMs, various different front-end systems. Every user can use their own mobile, sitting millions and millions of users. Earlier only there is a controlled entry through physical bank where people had to walk in. Now maybe not even 10%, 20% people also walk into a bank because most of the transactions they can do through online. So naturally more and more risks because of software interfaces and response time, identity management, and generic stuff that you can prepare. Access controls like the role-based access and other access controls. And when an issue happens, how the issue is being tracked, is there any control number? Is there any complaint number? How soon an issue can be solved? That is called response time and resolution time. How is it happening? I mean, when a system is automated, always these issues will be there. The risks are possible. So as a control mechanism, organization has to have some controls. As an audit or auditor in future, we have to verify those procedures of control. Same thing, what we discussed at length in third chapter. But this is specific to core banking systems. Change management, technology-wise, people-wise, business software-wise, versions, so many new things, applications need to be updated. Master data sometimes may have to be updated. So the definitions by Government of India, who is a minor and who is a major, may change once in a while. So master data related to the age may have to change. So updates are always there. interest rates change. So change has to be a part of the process. That's how that is. And security policy definitely is more vigilant. It should be. It helps banks create both security structure with clearly defined roles, responsibilities, and all that. Bank deals with third-party money also, so it needs to create a framework for security. More and more interactions using networks, more and more sensitive, hacking possibilities, more and more because it handles money. Wherever money is there, naturally, security risks are more. So policy should be strong. Just by not policy, but implementation of the policy also. So that's what he mentions here. Sorry. So global standards are there in banking security services also. Information security, there are some certifications. International Standards Organization, which is they provide a certification called ISO 27001 2013. For some of the other companies, ISO 9000, you would have seen GMR Airport, an ISO 9000 certified company or airport. So varieties of certifications for varieties of businesses. For pure software companies, there is another. For banking and manufacturing, this is also extension to manufacturing. Also, there are some standards. These are global standards. So banks need to adhere to some of those standards. Some banks try to acquire the certification also. So that's what the RBI has suggested use of ISO 27001 to implement as information security, because that gives that particular policy or that particular certification standards give a lot of robust areas of security and controls and so many other things. In fact, part of our syllabus has been taken from some of these textbooks of ISO as risks, controls, and audit requirements. Sorry. 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So information security should be compromised, should be comprised of the following sub processes. Definitely policies should be there. Step one for any information security policy. Then who has to manage the security administration? For example, for banks, I don't have to tell you, there is something called KYC process. What is KYC?
Know your customers.
Yeah. All the details need to be gathered and kept it as part of security. It is a policy. And RBI has given a guideline. Earlier, people used to open bank accounts with duplicate names because it was not centralized in terms of operations. It was not core banking solution at that time. Branch by branch process used to happen. Now it is not that. So centralized security policies, one user can have one account only, like that in a given bank. Whatever transactions we have to do using that account, that account may be different. Current account may be different, savings may be like that. Number of types of accounts may be different, but for the bank, one person will have one account. That's all. Like that, these are all KYC procedures. Mapped through Aadhaar, mapped through PAN for tax deduction at source, etc. So user security, naturally, whoever people cannot just log in there. So disabling and who are the users, user IDs, passwords, and creation of those. Then application certificate, security, like configuration, setting of parameters, and basic how the application is set, how the event logging, etc., etc. Click the moment we click on an application, banking application, the records need to be recorded at the back end. Those are all security procedures, audit trail procedures. Then database, of course, operation system, network, physical. We have designed and discussed about these things earlier, right? Physical security, like Physical access or physical controls, varieties of securities are there. So disabling USB ports can be one example. Or laptop cannot be taken to home or something like that. Data cannot be copied to anywhere because that is sensitive data, right? So screens are locked. Those are only for viewing purpose. There are updates that they don't happen in the system itself. They happen in the central server. So like that. These are all some controls. So some risks, some controls, like the standardized format. I don't have to explain this because in third chapter, varieties of these things we would have observed. Some risks and how to control them. So without authorization should not happen. So password should be there. For super user or administrator should be adequately protected. That's why most of the administrators have a every 5 minute or 2 minutes, sometimes 1 minute also new password generated through a satellite link. They wear a small device. Satellite sends the new password every time, so that certain unwanted situations it can be disabled. So like that, that is a control. Lack of management direction is a risk. Security policy should be there. Confidentiality, passwords should be kept clean, and standards should be there, etc. Yeah, there is some window that is coming up on the screen. Correct. Let me see what it is. Yeah, it is coming up. Let me stop sharing once and again go back. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Maybe. All right. I hope it is okay now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, user accountability. These things are generic, unauthorized access, and so many things. Okay. That is more about sample list of risks and controls, information security. In exam, if they ask the question, I think generically you can write so many things. It doesn't have to be specific, but it has to cover major portions. Like we cannot write the same thing in active voice and passive voice. That's what we have to prepare. Yeah. Unauthorized system access. Some because of worms or trojans or virus. So naturally, network diagram should be there. Regular security verification should happen. That's a control. So think about risk. Automatically, control can be designed. Same logic. So internal control systems in banks, of course, to ensure orderly and efficient conduct of business. What is internal control? Typically, managerial control. Internal is equal to managerial. Simple logic. Why? Who manages the internals of any organization? Management. So managerial controls, what type of controls are there? Basically, policies, prevention, detection of fraud and error, etc. etc. Internal controls in bank would be to ensure the transaction or decision are within the policy parameters. Always managerial controls will focus on establishing the policies, procedures first, then adhering to those. So, risks are mitigated by implementing internal controls as appropriate to business environment. Varieties of control should be there. Examples. Work of one staff member should be supervised invariably, means should be, must be supervised or checked by another staff member. Some companies do that based on the amount of transactions. So till 1 lakh, even the clerk can process the transaction. But if it is more than that, definitely second level check should be there. These are all internal controls. This is called maker checker process. If they ask a question, you don't have to be ignorant about it. What is maker checker? Whoever is doing it, or processing a transaction, there must be a check on top of it also. It's called two-way check, basically. Okay. Job rotation should be there. That's why if you go to any bank at all, the same cashier may not be there next time when you go after 2 months or 3 months, but they will be in the same branch mostly. But they will rotate their jobs so that a single person cannot gain all the control of all the resources for every time or all times. So it's a control like that. Financial and administrative powers. Even branch manager cannot approve more than maybe 25 lakhs loan. It has to go to somewhere else. Depends. I'm just giving an example. So it has to be fixed. Branch managers must send periodic information to controlling authority, like how are they updating the systems in a local branch, etc. These are all making sure that managerial processes are in place. Books are to be balanced almost every day. Now, anyway, physically, you don't have to balance the accounting books. The system there does that, but there also a lot of reconciliation is required. That's why they work really hard after the regular banking hours also in the branch itself. So daily updates may be there, daily updates on SLR, daily updates on CRR. As a bank, as an overall branch, levels of reports will be too many. They are too many. So if the process is straightforward, then it doesn't take much time. So that's how they work on. And details of lost security forms, any other security forms are lost or not. Nothing should be unaccounted is the idea. Internal controls, currency, valuables, draft forms, term deposit receipts, because these are all exchangeable. If we get the FD now anyway it is linked to the personal accounts. Earlier it used to be just a certificate. So travelers checks, they should be in custody of at least 2 officials. It has to be balanced. So, of course, internal audit should be there. That's where we come into picture. So there is nothing great, exciting about it, is what I say. Internal controls, just like any other organization, bank-related controls. That's all. And IT controls, I think it is all a repeat. Login, logout should be there. Any account is dormant, which is inoperative for a long time, and suddenly if something happens, then suddenly if a new deposit comes and process has to start, then supervisor has to approve it. Again, internal control, but information technology based control. Automatically, mail or a notification should go to the supervisor. That happens through a program. So the program has to identify the dormant accounts. How does it identify? Application program. Is the account active, or any other transactions happened in the previous whatever number of days? If yes, process it. If no, inform manager. Like that. These are all self-reading material. Stipulated hours sometimes, but now it is 24/7. So only individual users can access only specified directories. We cannot go into. So whatever is having access, only we can enter. It's not a rocket science, right? We know all these controls, information technology controls. Only thing is, while preparing this, go through it once again. If they ask a question, blast the answer. So limit access, reactivating dormant accounts, same thing. The supervisory level password, it's a repeat of what we discussed. User timeout is prescribed. If you are inactive, I don't know whether you have observed it or not, after 7 seconds or 10 seconds or sometimes 20 seconds, if you don't do anything on the screen for the bank, when you after you log in, automatically you will be logged off. So security, information technology based security system. Predetermined time. ICA doesn't have it. You can log on or log in to ICA site forever. Some websites are always on because those are not carrying any sensitive personal information. But banks are not like that. So automatically those should be very sensitive to close. Like that. These are all programs again. You ask, these are all computer programs that are working for us in a CBS, banking, core banking system. End of the process, ledgers cannot be opened again. We cannot upgrade once the process is closed. I think this is basic accounting principle, because we cannot update the yesterday's ledger. It has to happen on a day-to-day basis. That is about information technology based controls. Examples: an application software, repeat of say configuration, masters, transaction, reports, 4 varieties of application software based controls. Chapter 1, I think we discussed about it. Configuration is basically setting up a system. So, access rules. Who can? Basically, setting up means always rules. Creation of user type. Are you a retail user? Are you a wholesale user? Are you an enterprise user? Are you an employee? Are you a senior manager in the same bank? Different user types are there based on the roles what we play. Computer does not know our face. Of course, now they can recognize the face for access, but it does not know the role. It will not identify, oh, you are the cashier, right? Use this. It doesn't do that. It is based on particular role that is defined in the access control database. Today, I may be a cashier. Tomorrow, I may be promoted. So my role changes. Based on that, access should change. And what is that setup? That setup is configuration. Data is master data, but setup is configuration. Like that. Customer type also can be different. Within customers, varieties of customers. What is the difference here? User and customer. User can be employee also. User is not always a customer. User can be a general public also, who doesn't have any ID, where we don't have to enter into to read what is all the icons in a bank website. We don't have to log in. That means that is casual browser. Browser means not a person who is browsing. Who is that user? It's a casual browser. Levels of access a casual browser can enter into, defined in the system. That is in configuration. Like that, setup happens. Password management and all that is part of configuration management, which directly deals with operating system. Then masters, few examples we know. Here customer types, the customer masters, employee master, income tax master, varieties of other masters, like a whole loan detail master, collateral detail master, a demat related details master, some varieties of master files, master data. Examples are given here. Similarly, transactions. What type of a transaction? Deposit, advance, ECS, general ledger. Because these are specific, they change. The data changes from one transaction to other transaction, one day to other day. In fact, same day, multiple transactions. Naturally, transactions means day to day operational updates, tasks. Then reports, naturally for verification. Summary of the transactions, daily general ledger, activity logging, and MIS reports for each product or service. Yeah, how each product is doing, how many home loans below 15 lakhs were approved in the last 1 month. How much of a recovery happened from home loans less than 5 lakhs per month. I mean, less than 5 lakhs in worth. Like that. MIS reports, part of reports. Performance, compliance, any new security threats, report. Based on the role what we play, reports will be published. Branch manager may need to know what is our branch position. A teller may have to look at how many transactions the teller has entered into that particular terminal. Maybe because every transaction needs to be having a counter. one deposit happened, two withdrawals happened. Like that, a counter should run always in the program. Those are all for what? Reports. So at any given day, in this branch, these many deposits happen, these many withdrawals happen, this is the amount of deposit, this is all like automated. When we say automated, those are all in the program, report programs. As a user, we don't care about it. As a customer, we don't need to know, but as a management, as employees, they need to produce those. Earlier, they used to produce manually. Now it is all set up already through CPS, configured already. What type of reports? We can customize the reports. We can like just by managing some new parameters to set the databases. Right. Reporting is a huge deal, and mostly in future, once we become a bank auditor, we don't go and look at each and every transaction how they are doing. Will depend on what reports. Our life is actually in future mostly reports. What is a balance sheet? It's a report. What is cash flow? It's a report. Like income and expense statement report. Anything and everything is a report. That's what where we are going to work in future. If we are focusing on mostly in accounting and auditing, and in fact taxation also in a way. But at least there is some numerics involved there. But here it is all post-mortem, almost. Of course, concurrent is not post-mortem. During also we have to. And internal audit is prior, prevention, you can say. So depending on the area where we apply our audit principles, these things, reports are used. For a morning, this subject is very, very exciting. At least this concept, what I say is not subject, but concept. Because this is pure dry controls, risks, reports, master, conflict. We have seen this already, but still we have to cover this. And some risks are here, controls are here with application level. Interest may be incorrectly computed. What anyone can do, system can have a logic issue. Whoever has programmed that mark types. Sorry to use the word, but yeah, probably. He did not use the actual RBI or bank given interest percentage. Since we all believe in computer systems, automated systems, did we ever check the interest rate, what they have calculated and given as interest to us? No one does it because we believe it so much. Because the control is in place. And as auditors, we are actually verifying. So, varieties of angles that we need to verify the risks and verify the control procedures are there or not. Examples, interest may be there. Loss of revenue may happen. Inappropriate assignment of rate codes. For current account, you have to give only 3.5. I'm sorry. For savings account, you have to give 3.5. Current account 0%. Fixed deposit account, you should give 5% or 6%, whatever. If someone in the configuration itself did a mistake by changing these rates, audit has to find out why the discrepancies are done before any customer points out. So risks have to be controlled. Interest rate code and the table has to be cleared and it has to be approved by it's called a 4-eye check. Meaning 2 eyes we already checked, 2 more, or 1 more pair of eyes should verify. So like that, they create controls. Validation should be there. Inappropriate reversal of charges. We have kept our ATM card. And ATM card 10,000 rupees or whatever we wanted to withdraw. For first instance, when we have inserted, display has shown that take money, but money is not coming out. So one transaction has been logged in the accounting system, right? Initial debit happened, but since that did not happen, it may. So there are some techniques where if the system is not set up, the debit can be reversed as credit or credit can be reversed as debit in the information system through programs. So those have to be verified whether any unwanted reversal is happening, because everything of this nature is what? Software. Who is developing a software? A human being. Possibilities are there always. So verify those risks. Reversal may happen. Let us say you are an intelligent software programmer working for a bank. I am your friend and I wanted some money. And you are in a position in the bank, you are handling all the ATM software. We can do this. Both of us can work as a scam. How? I insert the ATM card, money doesn't come, but money comes, but it shows that as if money did not come. So money is going out, but the account in the logical database is showing as if money was not debited. It's in real money and the accounting money or by accounted money. Just like that, scams can happen. This is a very miniature thing. So many controls, so many risks in banks, especially because it is dealing with users' money. It's a liability for the bank, our money is. So it has to be extra cautious in how to give that access for so many people to that money. So it is generally very much extra cautious. If you really look at most of the scams happen because of the people involvement, not because the system is bad. So many things. This is just a reference. You don't have to buy heart or anything. Please don't do that. Don't break your head. For same deposit, there will be multiple liens, for example. What is that multiple lien? Lien means what? Anyone knows that word? L-I-E-N. Lien means what? It's a financial term. Guarantee or collateral. Yeah. Control over something is, of course, that is the pure meaning of it. Yeah, I agree. That is the biblical meaning, dictionary meaning. Yeah. But lien in our sense, in this case, is collateral. Let us say this is one of the other major scams that happen. We have a property. You want to take a loan. You went there to the bank. Then you gave your property documents to get the loan. And then bank said they verified with the legal documents. Someone else already kept your documents in as collateral. Sir. Huh? These are my original documents. How can someone do it? Yeah. There are schemers and scammers. So multiple people can put the same collateral. Or they may control the same land, or they may control the same asset. Because all of this data is not physical anymore. It is all in some database. If there is a collusion with the bank employees and information system contractors and the scamster, this is how a lot of scams are. This is how Nirav Modi, Mehul Choksi, and so many other people could cheat Indian system of banking. Of course, our own Sujana Saab and Raya Patis and etc. etc. So many people are here also. And in Tamil Nadu, you name it, everywhere there. How? By just modifying some small program inside the accounting system. So that's why audit has to be verifying each and every finest aspect of the control to mitigate the risks. Risk basic, control to verify, audit to make sure everything is going fine on the control part. I think first chapter on, but that's actually the purpose of EAS, why we are studying. Okay? Generally, we are more interested to know what the system and how it works, but this part is actually the intention of ICA to introduce these controls. Inappropriate security, then what should be the access should be given. Configuration parameter settings are restricted. Anyone can just change any configuration of any website or any bank application? Hey, I don't like this. Change it. No, we cannot. Can we change master data? No. It's a control. Basically, they explain the same. Humans use that, what I mean is. In fact, employees also. No one can change it actually. Only a data entry operator has access. And that too, that is verified by multiple people. Otherwise, you will update your own marks. I'll update my own bank account. What is the big deal? You cannot believe. Once my bank account showed 150 crores in my account. I could not believe the number when I once I saw one. It is an accounting error somewhere happened. And immediately bank people called me and minor incident happened there. Of course, I did not use it. And I cannot use it also because what do I do with all the money? Just for about 3 hours or so, I was so rich. Just on the account. Why? Bank accounting issue somewhere or somewhere where the tallying did not happen or maybe more zeros got added. Something would have happened. It's all a software. Simple. It's not real. Yeah. Anyway, failure to automate the closure of NRE and NRO accounts, non-resident Indians, non-resident some expatriates, non-resident of and some different accounts are there. So otherwise, the benefits will be lost. Not reading, still this goes on. So, few examples of risks and controls with respect to application, not logical, physical, other access. Mostly this is related to authorization, programming, application, interest rates. If you look at, that's how we can. What is application? Again, we have to have the core understanding. Application is nothing but business logic. We are using Swiggy just not to verify how Swiggy website works. We are using Swiggy to complete a business transaction. What is a business transaction? Order food or deliver some goods. Now they have started that also. So application, app means business. Banking, what does it mean? Application control means banking business. It is not related to the security. It is not related to some other aspects of outside or inside and firewalls, networks. Those are all outside of the application. What is the actual app means? Application means business logic. Okay. That's where the so-called intelligence should be there for human beings. Of course, other things also are required. When I say developers, human beings, developers. Okay. Then core business processes also may have certain risks and controls. So till now, any generic questions? Application controls, risks. More of self-explanatory. A lot of information is there. You don't have to, again, I'm explaining, you don't have to by heart everything. Just understand the logical flow. Every 2-3 items are belonging to one category. 2-3 items related to authorization. 2-3 items related to interest rates. 2-3 items related to credit or other debit account transactions. 2-3 risks are related to assets related. Like that, 4 or 5 major categories are there inside. And appropriate risks. If at all a question comes, it's a reasonable good thing. Okay. But that is from the information technology and information system standpoint. So, application level controls, information system level controls. Earlier also we have seen the information technology based controls. The top IT risks we have seen, right? These are all IT risks, if you ask me. Yeah. These are all information security and IT risks. So then we have gone into general internal controls of meaning from managerial standpoint, different levels, 4 levels of internal controls, where we have to keep different controls at each level, accounts and setting up of policies, controls at the top level. Then application level, 4 varieties of controls: masters, configuration, masters, transactions, and reports. I'm explaining you how to prepare this, prepare on this. And then within configuration, we know what configuration is. So, few examples, if at all a question comes. Similarly, masters, similarly transactions, similarly reports, and few generic risks related to this. That is the material that comes to. Okay. Any doubts? All right. The next part of this chapter is about the business risks, business processes, and business risks. Basically, they don't talk much about business risk. First, they explain the business process. What is the business process of the bank? Majorly current accounts, savings accounts, loans, mortgages. Some new terminology we may have to get exposed to, which is called treasury process, something like that. So about 7 or 8 varieties of business processes by using flow charts or flow diagrams. These are not flow charts. Mostly swim lane diagrams. Do we have to remember the swim lane? I don't think so. But do we need to know the process? Yeah, at least we should know how the current account is established, how the savings account is established. So this gives a reasonable insight to how the banking transactions happen. Step 1, or first part is process flow for CASA facility. Don't be confused. CASA is nothing but current account and savings account. This is the banking terminology. Especially Infosys uses this terminology, and almost all this is copied from Infosys Finacle. Okay. ICA did not tell that, but it is there in Finacle itself. Finacle is the product of Infosys, banking product. So process flow, what happens? It's better to look at the flow diagram rather than reading the text. So let me just go to the flow diagram. Current account and savings account, what happens? Just to understand the process. So there are some players. Customer is one player. Branch is another player. Credits and risks management approval is another player, mostly the back office if you ask me. And then CASA account confirmation is from back office to front office. When I say back office, this is not server and all that. This is talking about businesses now. It's not pure technical things we are talking anymore for this. It is purely business. In a bank, how current account and savings accounts work. So customer applies. Step 1. Relation manager, RM. Based on some grammatical issues are there, I don't know why. Based on the customer request, proceeds the CASA application after KYC. Not that we know this. Whether they are X, Y, Z, and up to number of informations. And then what do? The local regional or relationship manager in the bank. The documents of the applicant are signed by the customer. Very detailed way, given pictorially. So based on the customer request, sends to the application for the facilities for request for processing to the bank. Customer applies. Customer ensures that KYC is updated and uploaded. If it is online, naturally now most of the banks are asking for scanned copies only. So that is also possible. So whether this is the manual process or this is automated process through computers, this is a manual handshake. Just to understand the process. Okay? It can happen in 2 ways. So in any way, this is a centralized process. Local branch sends it to back office. Risk team, there's a team. what do? They verify all the records, whether the information is accurate or not. Ideally, they should do it. Whatever we are claiming is correct or not, is the right address or not. Some of them verifies. Okay. They verify. They do verify. In fact, they may call us also to confirm. They may come nearby and verify. I mean, based on the worth of the customer, I would say. So they, and also the documents by sitting in the back office itself somewhere in Chennai or Hyderabad, they call to different agencies and get the information accurate or not. Any police records are there or not. Any earlier fraud related cases are there or not. Of course, after that also a lot of things happen for powerful people. But for us sometimes, but nowadays banks are in need of customers, so they are not doing so stringent verification as of now. For just current and savings account. For example, current account we want to open. We should have a business for that. Individually, we cannot generally open. Current account means the regular money should come, should go out. It's a flow. So we should establish what the business is. If there is any tax number, TIN or something is there, right? Tax identification number, TIN, something like that. For businesses, it should be there. Whether it is valid or not, verification happens. Risk team does it. Background and credibility, and allows the limits and facilities also. What is the limit? According to the current account, minimum balance limit is different. Savings account minimum balance is different. It is not uniform across all the customers. Based on their creditworthiness also. Minimum is generally standardized, but for per customer it may be modified also. So all those things are there. Decision is made by the credit, their application approved. Then what happens? Follow the arrow, then you will understand the flow. Confirmation of the risk team, account is opened in the customer account. That means a new entry has been entered in the database. Simple. And customer is informed. Customer makes the use of facilities, etc., etc. It may also happen that the application will be rejected also. Happens. With a malicious intention, we are applying on behalf of some other's name. Then the verification failed. What happens then? Application gets rejected. Simple logic, right? Only thing is more pictorially shown, flowchart based. So, what may be the risks in this process? Everywhere there is a risk. So, risks and controls. Credit line setup is unauthorized. What is a credit line? Based on the credit history, credibility. For example, overdraft may be possible on the current account because it's business. Sometimes we need to have a short-term loan type from the bank help and all that. How much overdraft would be there? How do they calculate the risk team? How do they calculate? Based on the earlier credit history, credibility, how we have dealt with other banks. Not total amounts and all that, but some historical information is available in the banking grid, I would say, bank grid. So they get the information. That is the risk. So credit, there is a credit committee, financial ratios, net worth, so many things there. I don't think as an individual retail customer we get this. But if it is a wholesale account for 1,000 employees, they have to verify so many things before that particular account or group of accounts are created. Again, same thing, but access rights and all that should be clear. By master defined CBS is not according to the pre-disbursement certificate. Meaning, whoever is getting the pre-approval, the customer is different and this customer is different. Possibilities. So there are a clear number of risks. These are just samples. Okay. Again, I'm not going to read everything. From an examination perspective, we cannot reproduce as it is, and ICA doesn't expect that. It's not so stupid. However, we should know a category of risks possible by understanding the flow. Hence, it is actually a logical way of understanding. Physical way of representation is up to you. There may be some super great artists and painters in our group. It's up to you. But ICA is not looking for that. ICA is looking for, do you understand the process? In a bank, how the current account and savings account process happens. And what may be the possible risks and how do you want to control? If at all they ask a question like that, you know the process, have some general reading of this, just like a novel. I don't insist you can remember everything on this. And it is not prudent also. Unauthorized personally, and these things are only 6 risks or what? There may be 25 risks or 200 risks. Just a sample here. So you can imagine the possibilities by understanding the business process and controls. That's why when we look at the business process, again and again talking about hackers risk, the data risk, instead of that, we have to grow a little bit. We have to understand what may be the intersection related risks here. Credit line setup, because this is business risks. If you look at, these are not IT risks, these are business risks. Why ICA has added that into enterprise information systems? Because this information system called CBS is handling a business called banking, which may have IT risks and IT access controls, logical controls, and all those things are one hand. We already discussed. This portion is mostly to focus and understand how the banking business works. Hence, business risk standpoint, we need to look at it here. That is a gear shift we should have. We should make it while preparing. I hope you understand the and appreciate the approach. When I say prepare, again, no by heart, just logically think from a business side by applying the business flow of CASA or American accent, CASA. So, any questions? Inaccurate accounting happens. Business risk always is there, right? It's a very generic risk. Just we can be creative in writing this actually. In fact, auditing paper itself is more creative if you really look at it. Because these are all related to audit type questions. It's creative. If you know the process, we can use that. That's why I say, I personally known some people who focus on processes to understand the step-by-step approach logically. That's all. They don't prepare by heart and all these things. Why? If we are clear about the process, that is important. Then we can imagine, we can understand what may be risks. When we are writing information AS exam, our mind should be about controls, risks and controls. 1 or 2 questions will come on risks and controls in the final exam, the actual exam also. So this is one. Current and savings accounts. What happens in credit card application? Same thing. Customer applies. Look at me like I say, why are you making things easier? This is easy, that's what I'm saying. Just understand the flow. What happens? Same customer applies for credit card. Okay. We can go to branch or we can send it through online. KYC documents. Same thing. And if there is a verification, KYC documents or not verification, sorry, but accepted by the local branch. Anyway, now people are not going to local branch. Agents are coming to us. That's how it is happening now. So KYC documents are produced. Again, they are sent to risk team. What do? They do the same thing. Is it real name? Is it the real information? Is it the credit risk is for is it okay or not? Credibility is there or this person is unbelievable. They have a lot of fraud. Verification. The decision is made. Look at the flow chart. Diamond has come into picture. Decision is made. Rejected happens. Approved. Credit card disbursement team disburses credit card to customer. Send it. Most of the times, 2 different mails come. one credit card and second some other time ATM. There, sorry, PIN. There is no direct single time they don't deliver. And enjoy money. You can swipe it and enhance your debt. Okay, it's free. Feel free for that. What is the big deal about it? Tell me. What risks are possible? Business risks. Process flow, we just looked at it. General junk information. Sorry, not junk, but sorry, I just slipped the slip of a tongue. But visa, master, don't we know all this? So much of details again and again and again and again. I say mentions it. Okay, so just read through. That's all. Approval message comes. How to clear transaction data goes to the bank. Don't we know how the credit card gets cleared? Customer presents the card. First, it goes to the local merchant. Let us say I am doing a transaction in Birla company. More. I want to buy some food, dal or whatever. Yesterday only I got it, so I still remember. Not from more, but local. Generally, I don't go there. To multinational companies in general. Local support is what I generally do. So anyway, merchant bank I went. To the merchant I have gone. I presented a credit card. My credit card is, let us say, SBI, and the merchant's credit card probably is Punjab National Bank. He is doing his banking with Punjab National Bank. So naturally, this credit card has to first of all register that there is a transaction that is happening. What is the merchant? Merchant has a machine with a swipe or show. Merchant bank here requests the credit card network. It is a grid network among various banks. So technology comes into the picture at the back end. From business side, credit card network is there. What does it do? It communicates with, the network communicates with my bank. Because my credit card belongs to X bank, merchant bank is Y. How X directly pays to Y without any network and confirmation? It doesn't. So, credit card network sends to credit card issuing bank. Credit card issuing bank, meaning a user credit cards bank, sends the response, and that response is sent to merchant bank again. And that is actually the status of transaction, confirmation or rejection. All these things happens in less than 2 to 3 seconds in the machine. Whether you swipe it or show, and now anyway we don't have to do it, but this credit card application time. I mean, how the credit card works, confirmation and rejection, completes the sale. Customer gets the receipt, takes the goods or services or whatever, and goes there. Simple logic, business wise. Is the risk possible? Everywhere there is a risk possible. Is it not? And how the settlement happens? So that's what is explained here again. In theory, settlement happen. How does it happen? Merchant business, the transaction data every day. For example, 10 transactions happened in more today in the past 1 hour. So they have a clearance process of every 1 hour, for example. It's called batch process, if you remember. They batch all the transactions. They means not individual system. Every 1 hour it sends to the bank for clearance. Because out of 10 users or customers, they used 10 different credit cards and different banks, debit cards or whatever. We cannot say to a customer, boss, my money did not come yet from the bank, wait. As a merchant, I cannot tell that. So batch process happens in the back end. How is it getting cleared? This is the process. Merchant business sends the transaction data. Naturally, the statement and etc. comes. So customer is paying that. Credit card issuing bank is actually issuing the statement again. So if you look at the step by step, the transaction data from merchant is transferred to the merchant bank. This data is to the merchant bank. So credit card network and all the transaction data and all that has gone here. And then step 2, merchant bank in turn now provides a list of settlement transactions to the batch. Then credit card issuing bank, based on the transaction made, clears the amount to merchant bank. That's what this gets the response. I'm sorry. This gets the response and clears it. Settlement process happens at the back end again. Similarly, again, credit card network is used here. Transaction data is sent here, and works with the bank. It is deposited here. Payment happened from credit card network to merchant bank. So customer has presented the credit card, and whoever has issued this bank, that finally gave the payment to the merchant. And the debit happened here. Simple accounting has completed. What may be the business risk in this process? Overall credit card process. Credit line setup is unauthorized. who can? So there is an issue with the whoever has set up the credit card. Instead of having a 4 lakh limit, they would have enhanced to 8 lakh limit, even though the risk team did not approve it. Some data entry operator has updated. Is there any risk? Yes. So credit committee has to check it, financial ratios, etc., before giving the credit card. Yeah, access rights to be given to the people who are unauthorized. Same control. Masters defined for the customer are not in accordance with the pre-disbursement certificate. Means some name difference is there, some address difference is there, something like that. Credit line setup can be breached, like I said. It can be changed. Inaccurate and interest charge can be calculated. They may say 18% because credit card charges are really heavy. That to compounding the charges. Instead of calculating 18, since I have a friend inside the processing team, they may reduce only for me to 1% just by changing that 1, 2, or 3 lines of the program. That's it. Always there is a possibility. Or maybe I have an enmity with someone, increased it to 25%. Or I used as a different logic to compound the amount, and now we don't generally calculate how much amount it is and all that. So possibilities, businesses are always there. Inaccurate reconciliations. So credit card process, this is how the risks and process and controls relate to that from business standpoint. If you look at, these are all business flows. Okay. Like that, we can understand this. Is it tough to really understand? Is it totally new to us? Now we know that there is a clearance house at the back end, automated clearance happening. But front-end credit card application, same process like any other account. Business-wise, not information technology-wise. Don't go into that. That is that's what, like I mentioned, HSBC does all that for their global customers in Hyderabad. Their information technology support, development, all that happens in Hyderabad. They deal with it. As an example, Citibank has a center in Pune and Chennai. All the global credit card processes happen from India. American Express has an NCR and Chennai. NCR is National Capital Region Delhi. So like that, all these international banks have set up their own processing from IT standpoint in India. But the business process we should understand. Any questions there? All right. I think most of us would have heard about this word called mortgage. Same, mortgage and loan. It's a secured loan, which is secured on the borrower's property, making a lien. Lien means control, absolutely, on the property as a collateral for the loan. So if the borrower stops paying, the lender has to charge on the property. They can take it through auction or through. They have the overall rights, power of attorney type rights. So from business side, they are explaining. Mortgages are one of the major revenue generators for the banks, and losses also, because non-performing assets may be accumulated because of they provided loans to people who did not pay them back, and banks could not recover it also. So many industrial houses, smallest companies also take thousands of crores, just with a lot of collusion, I think. Just day before yesterday, in Hyderabad, an infra and information technology, both infrastructure and information technology company called, I don't remember the name, Shanti Infotech or something. The person's name is something. 3,400 crores loan defaulted, just like that. Both of them arrested up. They're out within hours. That's a different story. So, mortgages are nothing but real estate based purchases and all that. They users take loans, builders take loans. So it's all loan business. That's how banks get money. They can be greedy also in that, and maybe the reasons for collapsing. That's what happened in US in 2008. Okay. Basically, banking system got collapsed because of not handling the mortgages properly, and then US government had to print the money and so many other things they did, because they are in control of the world. They can do a lot of things. Not a country like other countries like India, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, where out if something happens like that. That's called subprime crisis. Just remember that for your future reference. If you have interest, read some material about it. What is this subprime crisis? Totally related to mortgages, especially housing market. Okay. Yeah. The lack of time, I'm not going to the details of it. Subprime crisis, 2008. So types of mortgages, home loans are there. There are fixed interest rates, variable interest rates. I hope you know what this means. For the entire duration of the loan period, fixed interest rate is one aspect. For some part it is fixed, some part it is very variable. Another method. There is top-up loan. You took a loan, existing loan, but we can apply for additional amount for refurbishment. Let us say you have taken a loan to construct a house with ground plus one, first floor. Now you want to construct second floor also. You did not repay the loan yet, but still you can top up the loan, just like topping up the mobile top time. Loans for under construction property. Any one of you are staying in apartments, and if you own it, ask your parents. In the registration document of that apartment, was it mentioned as if it is totally constructed property or half constructed property? It's not a secret, but it is most of us don't know this. Very surprising real fact. Any apartment construction, if they are getting loan from a bank, they will show it as under construction only. They will never complete it according to the document. Ask them. You will be surprised. Of course, if they are open to you, don't force them and take my name on that. We are also grown up. We are going to chartered accountants. Maybe they have respect for you, so you can use that respect for this as well. But anyway, that is also another loan. Most of the loans for parts as per construction plan, only for compound wall. I can take a loan, for example, not for the building, only for a compound wall. Maybe I don't need the loan for entire thing, only for something, some parts of it. Only for interiors I can take something like that, a half constructed property. So like that, varieties of loans. It's a totally generic subject, but most of our, I don't say most, but some of our future careers are linked to this. Okay. What is the process description? All this text I'm not going to read. It's not visible for most of us, but you can refer to your copy if you have in front of you. Otherwise, it's okay. What is the size? Maybe, yeah. Again, customer approaches the bank for mortgage. Meaning, I need loan. Provides loan consultation. Why this? Why that? This good? That is not. Something like that. Customer completes the application form, submits the request required KYC documents. Relationship manager or regional manager, whatever we call it, reviews the documents. Requisite documents are received, for example. Two options. If those are not received, again, customer has to send further documents. That's why it is a decision box. Now those are received. The next what we can do, the credit team determines financial eligibility of the customer. Where is this credit risk team sitting? Somewhere in the back office, maybe in Chennai, Mumbai, somewhere. They do a lot of, and in fact, in local offices also, they have legal help, lawyers that work with them, so many other, parallelly, and maybe private detectives also may be there. All these things apply to only as individual retail investors, not for the common customers, not for the big shops. But anyway, credit team determines it. So underwriting team will verify the financial and employment details of the customer. This is important for market. What is underwriting? Basically, for IPOs, you would have heard about God as an underwriter. I have valued this company for so and so. Underwriting is basically valuation. In costing or somewhere, you would have done a lot of valuations. How to evaluate an organization? What is the value of a company? Outstanding shares model, this model, that varieties of things for companies. Individuals, how do we value? Whether this property is real or not, or earlier collaterals are there or not, whether any other guarantees that this person has it or not, the employment history, what he has, is saying, he or she is saying annual salary is 30 lakhs, is it real? How long is it? Various things. Based on that, worth or valuation happens. That is called underwriting process, which is actually statistical process. So, is the loan within the lending guidelines? Can be lent for this particular business? I would like to establish a RAT form, for example. I'll show in the document that rats are used for XYZ reasons, and the reproductivity is multifolded. If I just invest on 100 rats this year, by next year I will get 3 lakh rats. So naturally, some business proposal I have written. The bank should have at least some sense to understand that. That's what it is. Is loan within the lending guidelines for which the request are we giving the loan? This is where again manual. Whenever there is a decision, if there is a manual process, scam happens. Simple. If it is automated, also can happen, but restricted. For example, requisite documents received. System is asking for 10 documents. You gave only 8. Give 2 more. Simple. There is nothing to be to do a scam about it or what. But these type of things is the loan within lending guidelines. For the manager or over the credit verification person. Yeah, overall loan is 100 crores. I will give 50 lakhs. Okay, I have managed it. Not done. Without collusion of bank employees, no bank scam happens. Simple. Only politicians doing it, only this person, industrialists. They are scamsters, for example. But who is helping them? These decision points. That's why most of the banks, they are using artificial intelligence here also, but not totally successful. Anyway, is it within guidelines? Yes. conditionally approved. Initial provisional approval comes. That's called provisional approval, conditional approval. So if the loan is rejected, no, then again RM has to review with the customer. Customer again the same process. Customer has to provide more documents. Again the same process goes. But if it is yes, then legal and valid evaluation also comes into picture. Underwriting is looking at the general value of the documents, but legal and valuation goes in very deep. The title, search on the property and carried out by the legal team. That means they come to the real place, they verify whether the size of the property is what they are claiming for. Is it registered accordingly in the registration department or not? All the verification happens. If it is a home loan. If it is some other loan, education loan, they will verify with the university where we are applying for. Let us say New South Wales University of not even near to Nizam College of Hyderabad. But people go there. I don't know why, but yeah, crazy. Nizam College is 1,000 times better than these Tom, Dick and Harry universities. But as an example, probably chance is much better than that. We cannot boast, but yeah, it is like that. But anyway, verification happens there. Legal verification. Is it real or not? Is it worth as what they are saying or not? With physical verification also. Valuation amount is determined based on that. So in this place, market rate per acre is 4 crores. So 80% of that can be given as a loan, something like that. Is it really 4 crores or not? Some real valuation should happen. That is done by legal team. And again, you know how it works. Legal teams also can be managed. I mean, again and again, I don't have to tell you. I'm not motivating you to perform those scams, but how it happens. And most of the time, chartered accountants or related consultants are involved in this. So valuation amount, I mean, again, that is not for motivation. Okay, so valuation amount is determined and site visit and all those things happen. Legal and valuation report is sent to underwriting team. So underwriting team verifies all these documents and approve the case. Ultimately, each application is considered as a case by underwriting team and approval authority is with underwriting team, which is the credit risk team in other words. Once the approval comes, then the lender operation team, offer letter and all that, bank basically, or the financial institution, wherever we are applied for. So offer letter, loan agreement is created, sent to customer. If you look at the arrow goes all the way up. Customer reviews the offer letter with the loan details, signs the documents. Signed documents are received. And then upon receipt of the signed offer letter, it is received and the cashier order is created. Check. Or maybe other instruments, direct deposit also sometimes is possible, but mostly it is checked as an instrument now. Cashier order is created and sent to RM. RM is local branch. And RM, branch relationship manager, what do they do? Cashier order is provided to the customer and details are mandatory document exchange and all that will be given. And in parallel, charge is registered in the security or property because the document has to be taken as a underwriting, as a risk mitigation. So money is given, original documents are taken. Process and that's all. The two ways. Sometimes the regional manager may give the cashier order to, of course, they have to, not sometimes, they have to give to the customer. And sometimes customer may have to work with loan account servicing till account closure. This is only vertical. You know, some accounts can be, loan accounts can be closed early without any fees. Some accounts can be paid ahead and be paid. Some loan durations can be extended. Some top-up loans can be added and plans can be changed. Earlier, we thought of fixed interest. Now we would like to go for variable interest according to the agreement between customer and bank. and the products that bank offers. So, I mean, if you enter into this, this is an entirely different arena called banking and loan and disbursement. I mean, the huge areas of opportunities to learn. So ICA is just helping us to understand the business process. Are there any risks possible in this business risks? 1,000 risks are possible. Process wise, any questions? Some new terminology. Underwriting probably is a new terminology for some of us. Legal and valuation team. Maybe. I don't think you don't have to remember the entire flow, right? As a flow diagram, you know what it is. One thing what we can do as a preparation is at least we should focus on who are all the players. Who are all the individual players in this swim lane diagram, who are all swimming in separate lanes. And interaction is happening. Interaction you can just understand logically, sequentially. If at all a question comes, we can write it in text. These are the players. So at least from preparation standpoint, I would recommend to remember these players. So anyway, customer is the player, the subject. So bank, relationship manager. In case of mortgage, there is, or even otherwise also, credit risk and underwriting is always there. In this case, underwriting comes into picture. In case of credit card or CASA, there is no underwriting work. No, that level of detailed valuation, detailed explanation of the actual percentage of the loan, etc., etc. It is not. The work actually is not required to be done like that. Percentage of interest, why this person has this person should be this much of interest. Those things in credit application, credit card application, or current or savings account, we don't have, because those are just procedural things. But in this case, it is mortgage. So one more addition, which is underwriting, and legal and valuation also should be there. Finally, whoever is disbursement, lender operations it is called. Don't have to remember the exact name. Operations team, which actually handles the or completes the process. Finally, regional manager or relation manager only gives the customer does not know what is happening at the back end. Customer always deals with the relationship manager. That's it. Process flow wise, we don't have to remember the entire diagram. But if you know the players, how the application process happens, just write it in words if at all a question like this comes. And what are the risks in this? Incorrect customer loan details. Again, start. Incorrect loan amount, incorrect or interest amount is incorrect. Other, I think they have also limited the number of risks possible, because thousands of risks are possible business wise, and banks have to take care of that. Wherever the human intervention is there, double or triple verification ideally should happen. Wherever there is a discrepancy in terms of application versus, the customer application versus the disbursement, again verification. Every level there is a verification process, whether it is manual verification, whether it is automated verification, and whether the process is there or not, whether it is working or not. In future, as auditors, we are going to verify, and we'll employ that in the audit report. For mortgages, now you became almost miniature auditors for mortgage process of any bank. In case of your articleship, if you get an opportunity you definitely can use this reference material as audit checklist. Of course, your phone will provide some audit points and audit checklists, and cross verify with this will be similar, because these are all audit standards basically for mortgage risk and control mechanism. But if you are mentioned here, there can be 100 or even more than points to be verified. Okay, that is how mortgages can be understood. Any question? Business process, risks and controls, not IT. Again, I wanted to be clear. So this helps to understand how banking happens. Three processes we have: current and savings accounts, credit card, within that credit card and clearance also, and third, mortgages. Treasury process and rest probably will look into tomorrow. Treasury process is probably a reasonably new term for some of us or most of us. Issue here is this is not a class related to what happens in treasury. Okay, what is treasury and what are the intricate details of it. This is not the session. But from a banking perspective, how does it operate in the treasury operations? What is treasury? We'll just look at it. In fact, I would encourage you to Google it also before coming to the tomorrow's class. What is the treasury process in banking? Because that is an elaborate explanation about what is a treasury, how it happens, and all that. That's why instead of, because once we jump into the actual business explanation, instead of interlinkage of banking with treasury, we will talk more about treasury itself. It will consume more time. Instead of that, I would suggest you just do some basic research, basic understanding about in Google or Investopedia or somewhere, Wikipedia or whatever. What is treasury process for banks? Just try to, and maybe for a few minutes we'll discuss about that and then enter into this, then will makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, that you have noted down and do invest some time of yours before coming to tomorrow's session. Yeah. Any questions for today? Banking. Now you are reasonably knowledgeable in banking, how it happens. It's good. All right. If nothing else, then I beg a leave from you and we'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Mhm.